always forget. And I am heading home after dropping the kiddos off at school. Lily's in the back napping. I even got the pup here by me today. Sleep was a little rough last night, but I digress. We'll see if I can stay here on track. You know me. Chances of that happening are. So, I wanted to come on here and post, I do think, like, part of what I really enjoy is like, helping teach other people how to follow their guidance system and, interpreting messages and, messages from spirit, from guides, from their higher self, the universe, whatever, your belief is. And I sing about, like, Tyler Henry, and when he will give readings. I love watching this stuff. When he gives readings and he says, they're showing me balloons, which means, like, birthday celebration, this, and they show me this, and this means this, and when they show me this means this, and it's, like, literally this language, so he sees a lot and feels a lot. That's his way, of receiving messages from the other side, and then they've created a whole language to be able to communicate through him, which I just think is so neat. And I'm realizing that a lot of that is what's going on with me right now. But, when he says it, he says, well, this means this. And I like it because he already knows, like, well, this means this. Like, his language is already, like, he's already kind of, like, mastered. Or, he'll be like, well, it could mean this or this, does one of those fit for you? And then they'll give him, like, another clue of, like, oh, well, they're also telling me, like, a certain name or something. And then it'll be like, this means either, like, brother or father figure, but they're giving me this name. And then the person can be like, oh, yeah, that's my brother who's still alive, or, like, whatever it is. So I just think it's really, really neat. And I feel like I'm in the learning process of the universe talking to me and guiding me and teaching me the language of speaking back and forth. And there's a couple of them lately that I just have not gotten the hang of. Still seeing planes everywhere. I did acknowledge one time that it might mean, like, traveling to, like, New Orleans. And I got that confirmation, like, text message when I was on the walk with Passato, and I have not pulled the trigger on that. That would need to happen, like, I don't know, I'd have to do it through, like, a travel group where somebody could host me for free, because, right, like, I don't currently have the money to be able to do that. And, like, for me, I'm like, well, how would I even do that? And I do have my EBT card, my food stamps card, which I found out is I can use it in all 50 states, which is amazing to find out. The WIC program, the Women, Infants, and Children's program, I cannot. I don't know if that one extends at all outside of Arizona, but it for sure is local in Arizona. It's not federal. So that is a possibility, but if I'm going to go to New Orleans, I also want to have money to be able to enjoy the food and the culture there. And it's funny because I'm not even, like, a huge jazz person, but for me, like, it just seems like it'd be so much fun to go out to, like, a jazz bar with live music and good drinks, and I want money for drinks if I'm gonna go to, like, food and drink, and that'd probably be mostly what I want money for. And then when I need transportation, can I find somewhere, like, walking distance, or we just have a chill trip? Like, I don't really know if there's enough to do around New Orleans, even if we went for, like, 4 days or something, I don't know. But I'm still seeing all the planes, so whether that's still what they're telling me because I haven't pulled the trigger and booked that trip, I don't know, maybe, or it could be something else. Sometimes I'll look it up and see what it means, and it'll kind of fit for that moment. this morning, the one that I saw was Falcon, which maybe I'll look that up while I'm on here with you guys. Maybe I'll do that when I get home or something and look up what Falcon means, because it was like this very obvious business. And I swear, like, I don't see this stuff repeatedly. Like, it pops up and I see it and I'm like, oh, but I have been seeing the A Authentic a lot again lately. And I just let my current nanny, she's no longer my current nanny, but I let my nanny go. I talked about that a little bit on here. This is going to digress too, so I guess this video can be a two-parter, because it's what I do. But when we talk about, I almost feel like I should do a separate video on this one. Oh my goodness, it's so hard for me to stay on track and just stay on one topic. Okay, I'm going to do my best to stay on track with these signs, and then I will post a separate video so that it's a separate topic on this whole loving ourselves thing, and my interpretation is I'm learning on my journey. But like this morning I was driving and it was this big AC company vehicle, and it was like Falcon Air. I was like, Falcon Air, like, whoa, that one really got my attention. Huge, gorgeous, beautiful. Like, okay, what do falcons mean? And so here you go. And you know, I have it saved in like my Google search. It'll say like spiritual meaning of, and then it's like, you know, I think I had bees and I deleted bees and just wrote Falcon really quick, and it came up as I'm at a red light, and it says the falcon symbolizes freedom, intuition, and bravery. And it's funny because for me this is actually going to exactly tie into what I was saying and wanting to go off topic about, so I might actually need to go off topic, because the bravery part really seems to fit. So this is going to be a two-parter, but for me that bravery really symbolizes, and the thing is, I could look this up today, and this is what Falcon means when I Google search it today. I could see another falcon, you know, either, well, that'd be really cool to see one in person. I know we have a lot of hawks around here. I actually don't know. Falcons have the cool tails, right? I don't know if I know the difference between a falcon and a hawk. I don't want to look that one up. But, so I could look it up again in a week if that sign comes up again, and it could give me a totally different Google meaning. Like, I really do feel like the message that pops up is meant for me in that moment, and I've done that where it's repeatedly come up, and every time I looked it up it would give me a new definition that just seemed to fit so perfect. And for me, the freedom, the intuition, like learning how to listen to my intuition, the bravery. So I talked a little bit about this one, and this is where I'm going with the learning how to love ourselves, because it kind of makes me mad when it's like, well, you have to love yourself first before you can be deserving of love, and it's like, oh my gosh, that one is just, it frustrates me to no end, because I don't want that to be the case. Just a random barbecue sitting in the middle of the road, like it fell off the back of somebody's truck or something on the highway, and in an Alaskan plate. See, this is so much fun. This is literally how the universe communicates to me in real life, because I was just thinking about my Alaska trip this morning and how that was the first really big solo eat, pray, love trip that I did for myself, and it was mental, emotional, and social. And so are you meeting your needs spiritually, whatever that looks like for you? Are you meeting your needs mentally? For me, mental stimulation, mentally challenging conversations, these things with you guys, and you guys challenging me, and making me think about things, and emotionally, like Sunday, honoring my emotions, letting them flow, and then moving on, moving through them, and if they come back up again, letting myself still feel them. And socially, like, I'm a very social person. I love to be around people, but am I around people that treat me the way that I feel like I deserve to be treated? And so the nanny that I had, Lily liked her. Lily would sleep with her, like on her, and Lily loves to be held to sleep. It's how she sleeps the best. She does take amazing naps now in the car, but she loves to be held. She loves that physical touch, that physical contact to sleep and comfort. And so that was one of the things that I looked for, because my nanny that I had in pregnancy was great with my older kids. Energy was amazing, great at helping me get stuff done around the house, but Lily and her energy did not match. Like, she was way too high energy, and Lily is much more calm energy, and Lily couldn't sleep with her. She would just like scream and cry, and then maybe fall asleep for like 10 minutes because she was so exhausted, right? And then she'd wake back up, and it was not good. And she, the nanny, you know, was almost the opposite of this one. Had a really hard time sitting still or being still so that Lily could sleep on her, or wearing her, or, you know, whatever it was. But this nanny, so Lily approved, my kids enjoyed her, but she wasn't the right fit for me as a mom. And I found myself starting to get triggered so she would help with like household tasks, like taking out the trash, the recycle, folding some laundry, and putting away like maybe one load of laundry a week. And then like just kind of helping tidy up. But so she was with me for just about 3 months, and the last, I don't know how many weeks, she started like not cleaning up after herself, like leaving wipes on the changing table, leaving a dirty onesie on the changing table, not cleaning the high chair up after like Lily ate, so then the next time I went to put her in, it would be a big old mess, like food in it everywhere. Whatever she had just, you know, used to feed Lily last would be in the sink for me to clean up. She wouldn't clean it up. I think the straw was like, there was like a dirty diaper left on the coffee table, and so I could feel like the triggers, you know, because this kind of happened a couple times, and the first couple times it happened, I was like, oh, she left it out, not a big deal, you know, like it was one thing, you know, here or there, so I would do it. But then it would build up, and I'd be like, okay, this is getting to be a lot. I need to say something. And so I just let her know, you know, like, I really need you to make sure that you're cleaning up, like, after yourself and the stuff that you're using with Lily. And I need you to make sure, like, you know, the onesie, if it has food on it, I've got Shout, I've got laundry detergent, kind of spot treat it, make sure it ends up in the laundry. So I have laundry baskets in my room or the wash machine, you know, like, don't leave it on the changing table. I didn't say that, but that's when I'm like, oh my God. And, you know, I just said, make sure that you're cleaning up everything when you're done with it so that it's not then left for me. And I could tell it was very triggering for her too, right? There was no like, oh yeah, totally, I'm so sorry I did that. I, you know, will absolutely do that. It was, oh, yeah. And then just like totally moved on, didn't acknowledge, didn't ask, you know, for like, and I gave her some examples, and like, there was no, like, it was, you could tell, like, there was miscommunicate, like, I don't know, like something was And so things kind of got better, but then it was like the same thing. It would start to happen again, and I'm like, this is too much for me. And I think then another final straw was like, at the end of her shift, she had left the diaper genie overflowing, so that when I went to put a diaper in, I could not physically put a diaper in without me having to change it, like after she had just been there for a 6-hour shift. So she was aware of how full it was, or needed to be aware of how full it was, and take it out so that it's not being left on my plate. And like, I went to change Lily on the changing table, and there was no diapers. Like, she had used the last of the diapers and not restocked them. And then that meant if she used any diapers beyond that, she was using the ones in my bedroom, which then is, right next to the diaper genie, and then not changing the diaper genie. So I realized I need somebody who's much more sensitive to my needs as a mom, including like when she would make breast milk smoothies, making sure to use every last drop of breast milk and not leaving like some in the sink, like in the bag in the sink and whatnot, because a lot of us moms know that breast milk is liquid gold. And yes, some moms are great and overproducers and have plentiful amounts, but when they say don't cry over spilt milk, spilt breast milk has been one that I've cried over a few times. And I know I'm not alone on that one, and I didn't end up communicating that one because at this point I could tell it just wasn't the right fit. But that's somebody that like I need to be able to communicate this stuff to, and I need somebody who's sensitive to my needs as well. And whether that means like adding on an hour or half an hour or something like that, like before or after the shift, to make sure this stuff gets done. But I somehow manage, and I somehow manage when I have 3 kids. It's not like my house is not a total mess, so like I know this is possible, and I try to, not always, and it can be somebody that's older than me and has plenty of energy too, but like this person's younger than me, and I would hope would still be young and bountiful of energy, and I get that it might not always be an age thing, but yes, I was just noticing it was not the right fit. And so there was a lot of fear in me of letting this person go, because then I'm like, well, then what do I do for somebody to watch Lily on the day currently that I do work, and how do I, what about when I have the older kids, and like how do I, like, I can't, that's too much to have the kids and everything like on my plate with clients, at least for one day right now that I'm treating clients, and like in person physically. And so I did let her go, and I'm talking with a friend who might fill the position, and I've put the feelers out, and it's just sitting back and trusting that right person to fill this job position is going to come now. So it's that freedom, that bravery, that like confirmation of doing the right thing. And I realized that when I was going through this, I kept seeing advertisements for what I thought was telling me that I still should do therapy, and it was called BetterHelp. It was like an online platform for therapy, and I realized, through all this, oh, you're telling me that I need to hire BetterHelp. Like, I need to hire people that are better help for me and a better fit for me. Okay, universe, thank you. And like, don't settle, girl. Like, keep going. You got this. Like, yes, it can be frustrating because now there's training somebody new, but they're going to be better fit for you. They're going to, like, help make your life easier. Yes, like, keep going. You got this. Like, that encouragement of like, that was the right person for you in that time, but now you're realizing that this is what your needs are. You're learning how to love and respect yourself and your needs, because I could just keep doing this stuff, right? And I could keep cleaning up after her, even though it drives me nuts and I don't want to do it. But that's what it means for me with that self-love, is like, oh, like, stop doing it and just find somebody who will do this stuff for you. They exist. And then the one that I'm wondering about right now is I kept seeing those lien signs, the lien billboards, which are like personal injury attorneys. For me, it means like a lien, which is like what you treat on when you hold on to somebody's bills, and then you submit them all at the end so that they can get the treatment they need from a car accident or personal injury. And then you submit all the bills to the end to the attorney, and then negotiate payment. And then I've also been seeing a lot more like police vehicles, for like a vehicle, a truck that said like first responder on it, first response, and it was like for fire and mold and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, so that's catching my attention. And then I'm like, oh, are they telling me to lean into help? So lean into receiving help from government benefits, you know, available programs, from friends. This, you know, a friend offered to watch my kids for me this Saturday so I could go on a date. I already have plans with another friend, but I just thought that was so sweet. Like, she just offered of like, yeah, hey, you know, I can hang with the kids on Saturday so you can go on a date. And it's just like that, and like leaning into that help, that stuff that I've never had offered to me, right? Like, okay, one time the leader of the divorce care group watched Callie and Hobbs for me so that I could have one night to myself at that point. But like, my family's not going to do it, my parents aren't going to do it, they're not going to offer. I have asked in the past, but I already know like that's part of what I need to let go. And I know Lily's energy would never match my parents. She would probably scream her head off the whole time if she was with them. And so I feel like it's telling me maybe to lean into help from friends, from community, from government support, from programs, from, you know, anything I can get, and just lean into that help. So that's my guess on that current one for the lien billboards. And I mean, they've been on buses, they've been on billboards, they've been, you name it. And then I think it was like yesterday when it kind of dawned on me, where I saw like the 911, like a police vehicle with the 911 on it and the billboard at the same time. It was like one another, and I was like, oh, maybe that's what they're telling me. So that's my guess, right? So as we say, like, after I get the message, if that is the message, it'll stop. Like, I won't see it so incessantly. And I realize, like, ones with the A authentic, like, they come and go. I'll see them a whole bunch, and I'm like, oh, thanks for the encouragement. Like the A1 garage, A authentic garage. That is, for me, the big A means be authentic to myself. Like, yes, what I did with the nanny, being authentic, being me, being, you know, truthful to myself, treating myself how I deserve to be treated. Like, yes, that is all on the right path. And then the next guess is now with the lean and leaning into it and leaning into the help. So I will keep you posted. And I also think the 911 could be like help is on the way kind of a thing, but I think maybe in combination is saying like help is on the way and lean into it. Accept it. Learn how to receive. Which a lot of you guys can relate to that one, and how difficult it is to receive. And that's another thing to remember, is how much joy we get in giving, how much joy it brings to us to give. If we don't accept that help from somebody else, we're depriving them of that feel-good feeling of what it feels like to help somebody else. And I understand that sometimes we don't always attract people that like to help because we are the helpers, but the more I lean into it, the more I'm receiving it, the better it is. Like, it's great. Like, somebody had posted in the Buy Nothing group a few coupons for ice cream cones, and I couldn't afford to take the kids to Zoyo for the first time this week when I picked them up from their dads. And so I was like, oh my goodness, if I won those, I could take them and just try a new ice cream place and use that as my excuse. And I know the person who was giving them away from a separate moms group, and I had shared a little bit in there about vulnerability of where I was at currently, and just having applied for rental assistance and looking for a new nanny, and I was totally crying, and the person ended up selecting my name for the ice cream coupons, and I kind of just gave her a quick story of why that meant so much to me, and didn't even ask, but she had tossed in some extra money, and it said with a note for the next sweet treat. And I was just like, I'm gonna cry. I was crying. I was just like, that, like, just learning how to receive help from somebody else because they want to do something nice, like, didn't even have to ask, but it feels good to do something like that if you can for somebody else, and just learning to lean into that and how good it feels that somebody did something so nice for me, especially without having to ask. I mean, asking is hard, and receiving when you ask is one thing for sure, and that being able to be vulnerable and asking is, whew, it's hard, right? And especially when we think we have to do it all, and that's been programmed into us. But just remembering, like, that person feels good for being able to help me, and how good it feels that person, like, reached out to help me. So there's a little update on me learning how to interpret the way the universe communicates to me, and hopefully that'll help some of you guys with the signs and stuff that you guys are receiving, and interpreting and creating your own language with your guidance system. And also just kind of, you know, checking in a little bit about what does it mean to love yourself, because sometimes it's so frustrating to hear that, well, you got to learn to love yourself first. Like, what does that even mean? And sometimes it just means not putting up with other people's BS if they don't treat you the way that you want to be treated. Instead of trying to fight for it and change that person, accepting them that they are giving you who they are, and if you need more, then letting that person go. And learning how to acknowledge that it's okay to need more too. Not needing to settle. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And as per usual, please share below, because that helps with other people who are on here and reading the comments to see, okay, what is, like, an example of how somebody found that they can love themselves. Like, oh my gosh, that really resonates with me. Or, you know, maybe it doesn't, and that's fine, but sometimes it can help spark ideas and communicating with the universe. Like, some people hear things. Some people close their eyes and see things. Some people just get those knowings. Some people like me who are still very physical and spiritual, who need to physically see it, not like just close my eyes and see it. And I get the knowings sometimes. And who knows, maybe it's a little, you know, helper whispering in my ear, but also that physical for me. So yeah, sharing below that, like, for certain signs and interpreting your language, what does it mean for you? Because again, that can help other people in learning their own language too. So share below, and Lily and I are gonna go grab some food. I love you.